everyone, I'm Nikki. I'm so glad to have you here on the channel today. Today's video is part of a video hop, which means you have a chance to win prizes. To enter to win, you need to get the emoji from later on in the video and comment it below so that we can put you in the drawing. And this has got great prizes. We're going to be looking at the new stencil and die set from Altenew called Amorous Dreams. And we're going to be looking at 3 amazing ways to help you create vintage style cards. Now, I create all styles and types of cards, but lately I've really felt like vintage cards are great for certain people that I send them to, and also they just kind of give a completely different vibe, and I like that. So we're going to be looking at this 6-part stencil. This is called Amorous Dreams, and it has a great vintage vibe for you. We're going to start with stenciling it. I'm not going to go too much in depth into the ways to stencil because we're going to talk more about the ways to make this vintage. My favorite thing for stenciling is using the stamp wheel. So I'm going to use the stamp wheel because it has that awesome grippy mat. And then I am going to start with the leaves. You can start with whatever you want to, but I'm going to start with the leaves for this one and get those done. Now, let's talk about the first way that I think you can give your card a more vintage style. Number 1 is color choices. Let's look at our options and see which one you think looks more vintage. Okay, look at this set of greens and just kind of get a feeling for it. Compared to this set of greens, do you see the difference? To me, the first set of greens has that kind of muted tone that really gives a card a great vintage look, and it's going to look great with the purples that I've chosen. I will pop those up in just a second. I'm going to take you through these layers quickly so that you can see what I did. I started with frayed leaf. And I'm just laying down my base color here. So just getting some color down on the stencil because this is the first layer of the leaves. So this is the lightest of those green colors called frayed leaf. Let me show you the stencil reveal. Now this is a lovely color, but we've got 2 more that we're going to put in here. So let's start with our next stencil of the leaves, and we're going to go a little darker on our green. Now you're really going to notice the colors and the vintage type vibe with the colors as we get into these purples. So I'm going to take you through the greens real quick. This second green is Forest Glades, and it's got details on the leaves with this wonderful stencil. You can just not go wrong with layered stencils. They make it look like you are the best colorer ever. Here's the stencil reveal on layer 2. Look at that. Okay, so the third layer of leaves is evergreen, and this is a really dark green. I'm actually going to make it even darker by using a smaller brush to really lay down a lot of color. And this is another color hint that I would say consider doing on your vintage cards. Make it obvious that you can blend them in and keep them similar, but I like seeing the detail in those dark colors. So use some dark colors in your stenciling. I'm getting the camera closer so you can see this. Look at that detail. Here's how that package insert comes in handy. You see how it shows you each of the 3 flowers that we're going to be stenciling. It tells you the number, and each of those flowers is on 1 stencil, okay? So it really makes it nice and easy. You know where you're going. So we're going to start with this one, which is in that lower corner, and you can tell it's the correct place because when you look at your guide, this is the one that has 4 leaves coming off of it. Okay, once again, look at these color choices. We're going to go with this set, but look at the difference in these purples and these purples. Can you tell the difference in tone there? We're going to pick those more dusky tones, and I'm starting off with pale mauve, which is a little hard to see because it is light. I'm using an Altenew blending brush, and I'm kind of going darker along the outside edges, moving to lighter in the middle. Here's what I love about this stencil set. So I just did that part of the flower, and it's just a natural progression through the layers of this flower. So I can just move it over, and I know I'm going to my next color. I would suggest masking if you are a messy ink blender like I am. So I'm using some Post-it notes just to cover up the area and being really careful not to go off the top of the stencil. I'll color this one in with amethyst and move to the next. For the next one, I'm going to use the grape color, which is the third in this set. That's one thing also about having a set of 4 colors that are like this. Altenew does these colors so that you can layer them. So really, once you've chosen your general color, the decision's kind of made for you, which is so nice for people like me. I feel like then I don't have to try to figure out what other purple goes with it. And it just looks so beautiful on a layered stencil. They do that so well. So now let's talk about our second way to create a vintage style card. And this is about the style. Like with this specific flower bunch, to me, it looks like a vintage card. So there's certain flowers, and I'm going to pop a few up that to me look more modern. But this set, I feel like because it's kind of more of a rose type look and those kind of older, like more vintagey looking roses to me, I feel like this is the perfect set to create that vintage style. So if you're looking at a non-floral card, just looking at some kind of pattern. I have a couple of videos that I will pop up, but patterns like an old wallpaper or all kinds of things that just bring out that vintage vibe can really help make your card go over that edge. You know, if I was doing a very modern looking flower in this color set, I don't think that I could consider that as a vintage style. Here's an example of a very modern looking flower to me. And I know that's a die, but you can tell the difference. There's just, I feel like the vintage ones have more petals and they're just not as modern of a form. The last layer, I'll use this darkest color called Plum, and it's just the center of this flower. Each of these flowers is different, so you're going to get cool looking layers. That's all we're going to do in stenciling. We're going to move on to some other effects and show you the way that I added some other vintagey type elements to this card. It is time for me to reveal the emoji that you need to comment so that you can get entered in the drawing, and that is any type of smiley face. I don't care if he's got hearts for eyes or it's just a regular smiley face. Just pop that in your comment and you will be entered to win the $100 gift card. So make sure you do that. Okay, here's how these amazing flowers look after that stenciling. You could leave it like this, but this video is about tips to make a vintage style card, and I feel like vintage style cards have lots of elements. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our beautiful stenciled image. We're going to add this debossing folder, which you could do an embossing folder, you could do something else. This almost creates a stitched type pattern in the paper. To me, this just really looks like a stitching or embroidery pattern or some vintage type wallpaper. So it's just a really cool look. I'm going to create custom cardstock colors using those inks. So I'm just going around the edge because this is going to be the mat for our card. And I think that just brings your card together. So I'm using the grape color and going around the edges. And then you'll notice that I do the middle because why waste this whole piece of card when we could cut out the middle for something else. So I'm going to die cut the shadow of the sentiment that I'm going to use from the middle of that cardstock, and no one will ever know because it's behind our card. So for the main word part of this, I'm using some of the glitter paper from Gilded, which is a little set of paper from Altenew. And then I'm going to put on here Hugs, You Are on Our Minds, which is just a really great, it could be a sympathy card. It could just be letting someone know that you care. But I thought that that was a great sentiment. I did add these wonderful little clear enamel dots, which I love how they look because they don't take anything away from your card, but they just give it that extra little bit of excitement. Okay, I really want you to see these details, so I'm going to get you some different camera angles, and excuse my shakiness here with the video, but I just really wanted you to see this up close so that you could tell about the details. I love this debossing plate, and I just love how these colors turned out to make this amazing vintage style card. I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you click on the link to the next person in the video hop for a chance to win. And of course, comment the smiley face emoji like I said earlier in the video so that you're entered to win one of the prizes. Have a great day. Bye.